Walk, right? So you might have the shortest commute of anybody I think I'm inviting on. Dennis was on yesterday. Lives in Midlothian, which is, he said, Ennis County. That's like an hour and 10 minutes. Ellis County, excuse me.
I moved from Midlothian to Frisco.
Did you really?
So we probably were neighbors.
You might have been neighbors at some point. Yeah, Dennis, I think his family's been out there for a few years. But when I invited him on, I thought he was in Fort Worth. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a hike. And then he told me Midlothian. But actually, realistically, it was probably equidistant, so he still had a big commute. But Ian, thank you for coming in, even if it was a short commute. I appreciate you joining me.
Absolutely.
Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. We've got a few more hours left in the day, of course. Any big plans for the weekend for you, or just laying low?
Just soccer with the grandkids and running errands on the weekends, so nothing big.
Soccer with the grandkids now. How old are the grandkids?
So
yeah.
I have 3 now. I've been in the business a really long time.
Okay,
so,
okay.
So I have a 8-year-old grandson and then 2 granddaughters that are 5 and 2.
5 and 2. Well, I've got a 4-year-old daughter who started soccer a couple weeks ago as well. So I think we actually have practice tonight, as a matter of fact. So a lot of fun. Not a whole lot of really strategy or skills in that age, but some snacks get brought onto the field. Some girls cry, and it's so much fun though. It's a blast to watch. Well, anyway, so thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on and joining the podcast. You see, obviously, it's called Self-Funded with Spencer. So the general subject matter will be around self-funding. And the reason I had a broker on to start was we could start at a very high level, right? What is self-funding broadly? And then now we're going to start drilling into some of the moving parts, which is obviously where you come in. And so I'm excited to talk to you about the TPA space and your role in that and what attracted to you to the TPA space. But before we get into the meat of the conversation, let's learn a little bit more about Jennifer, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Personal life, professional career, bring us up to present day, and just let the audience know who you are.
Well, I have been in the business a really long time, so over 30 years in the business. I don't look like I would have grandchildren.
No, I would not have guessed. So
I've been in the business that long, but started out at State Farm. So I was selling auto, home, life, and health to individuals at State Farm for about 8.5 years, and then I went to the employer side, and I was the HR generalist and benefits manager for Preset Business Products. Okay. Back in the day, I did that in like 2000. Did that I did that from 96 to 2000. So 4 years on the plan sponsor side.
Okay.
Then I went to work for, that company went out of business, and I went to work for my broker, who was Marsh at the time. Okay. Way back in the day. So this was in the year 2000. Marsh Advantage America was small group. Marsh was mid-market, and Mercer was large group. And then during my 5-year tenure there, we all rolled up under the Mercer moniker. And then they've since broken that back out again. Okay. But so I started out as Marsh and ended as Mercer, then moved over to Willis Towers Watson for, 11 years, a stint at CLS Partners and Gallagher, before I found my way to Collective Health, which is a TPA. Well, yeah, and I was obviously, we know each other from, I think we met at CLS Partners back in the day. I called on you when I was a rep. But I noticed, right, you've had some time at some very, very big brokerages. And I'm curious, maybe what coming from the employer side that attracted you to brokerages, and then obviously now making the shift over to the TPA space. Can you walk me through some of the mindset of those transitions? Yeah, sure. So having learned from being a plan sponsor, so from that viewpoint, learning employee benefits, self-funding, what it takes from an employer side, working very close with my consultant at Marsh at the time. It just seemed like a pretty natural progression for my career to move into consulting. I started out as an analyst, so I was the one crunching the numbers, running the marketing, doing all of that stuff under the careful watch of a senior consultant that was a lot more experienced. Promoted up to run my own book of business, so I had my own set of clients I was responsible for, and enjoyed that. Got a promotion to move into Willis. There was like 7 of us that all kind of defected from Mercer at the time and went over to Willis and start the practice there, and have always just had a very deep analytical mindset. Yeah. So anytime there's something really complicated, I like to dig in, root cause analysis, process efficiency. Problem solving, that's my mindset. And so I worked that lends itself really well to healthcare